Hello, fellow cinephiles, and welcome to another episode of Steve Reviews. I am your host, Steve Sullivan. Today we are going to talk about the 2018 Academy Award nominations. On January 23rd at approximately 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific, the nominations were announced, and for the first time, possibly ever in the history of the award ceremony, there might be some unpredictability. Usually when the awards are announced, the categories are announced, you dig through and you go, okay, this person, oh, they have no chance. Oh, this person's going to win. Oh, they're nominated. Well, if they're nominated, they're probably going to win. And very rarely do you get that feeling that, hey, I don't know who's going to win this year. It could be this person. It could be this movie. I don't know. Normally, going into the ceremony, everybody says, this movie's going to win, this movie's going to win, this movie's going to win. Now, last year, it was refreshing that La La Land was predicted to win, and, well, if you've seen the 2017 Academy Award ceremony, it was announced originally that La La Land won, but, whoops. This year, though, you take a look at the 9 Best Picture nominees, and there's not really a clear favorite. You could make your case for pretty much any of them. And it's not just the Best Picture category either. There are a lot of history-making things for the 2018 ceremony. And we're going to start off with the fact that for only the 5th time in Academy history, a woman was nominated for Best Director. You have to look at that in 2 ways. There's the good side of that, which is amazing, because I'm sure there are a lot of women directors out there that are immensely talented that deserve to be looked at a little more closely. On the negative side of things, this year is the 90th Academy Awards. The 90th. And out of 90 years, you're telling me there have only been 5 women deserving of the Best Director nomination? Something about that just doesn't sound right, doesn't feel right. It's actually kind of sad and kind of frustrating. I mean, I'm grateful that the Academy is finally, hopefully, this is their jump off point to recognize the talented women that are out there. And another one of the happy, sad department is you have a woman who was nominated for Best Cinematography. And let me tell you something, folks. This is also just unbelievable. The young woman's name is Rachel Morrison. Now, Rachel Morrison was a cinematographer for a movie called Mudbound. And why is this such an important element of the awards this year? She is the first ever female nominated for cinematography. First ever. 90 years. 90 years. And it took that long to nominate a woman in the cinematography category. Now, come on. You can't tell me that there haven't been hundreds, if not thousands, of women over the Academy history that have been cinematographers that deserve this. You can't tell me that she is the only woman ever. Because that is just, it's mind-boggling. I'd yank my hair out if I had any. It's ridiculous to even think that it took this long to recognize somebody in that category. I guess that's the long and the short of it. It was just, for lack of better terminology. I mean, good luck to her. If she was the best cinematographer of the year, I hope she wins. Even if she doesn't win, I hope that she is a trailblazer and starts a movement to recognize that, hey, there are women, talented women that do the cinematography and can be incredible at it. So please, let's go down that road. Let's continue down that path. And it's not just the women that are making headlines this year either. There's one gentleman in particular who is really widening the gap, opening up people's eyes, making people think a whole lot more. And that one man is Jordan Peele. Now, to a vast movie-going audience, Jordan Peele probably was not that well known. He was known for his comedic talents, writing, directing, acting. He was part of a great show on Comedy Central, Key and Peele. So I think it kind of threw some people way off guard when he announced that he wasn't just directing a horror movie, but he was both producing and writing that movie. Of course, expectations were, some people were like, who does this comedy guy think he is, writing a horror movie? This is going to be a joke. Nobody's going to care. And then the movie was released and got worldwide acclaim from not only critics, but fans as well. And anytime a movie can get both of those things, you're onto something. And Get Out is a wonderfully made horror movie that also brings up social issues. And when you can do something like that, you're making an important statement. And it makes me think of someone who we lost recently, and that was director George A. Romero. Now, if that name rings a bell to some of you, it's because he was the creative force, the legend, who came up with Night of the Living Dead. Night of the Living Dead, which came out 50 years ago, so 50 years since George really, decided, hey, I'm going to do more than just make gory and scary. I'm going to put a message in there. We have a horror movie with a message that is now nominated for Best Picture of the Year. And we'll get back to Jordan Peele in just a second. I want to focus a little bit right now on horror movies and the Oscars. Since the Oscars began in 1928, horror movies have been neglected. They've been overlooked. They've had noses turned up at them. Snobs. I'll say it. Snobby people who think that horror is just low rent, cheap, just blood, guts, gore, nothing there. It's just disgusting and it's not worthy of the Academy. Now, granted, there are loads and loads of horror movies that you could definitely put into that category. But there have been some great ones over the years that were unrightfully neglected. For instance, 1931, Frankenstein. Terrific horror movie, but it also has a story in there as well. Was it nominated for anything? No. 1935, Bride of Frankenstein, which most critics and a lot of fans have come to agree that it is better than the original Frankenstein. No love for Bride of Frankenstein either. 1968, we mentioned Night of the Living Dead, another movie that is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year. It came out in 1968 and was incredibly well made and had a great cast and a terrific director and was just well done from top to bottom. And that was Rosemary's Baby. Ignored as well. Finally, 1973, the horror community got some recognition. A little bit of redemption, if you will, when The Exorcist could not be overlooked. It was the direction, the acting. Both of the lead actresses in The Exorcist were nominated for Best Actress. I don't know if you'll ever see that again. 2 actors or 2 actresses in a single horror movie nominated for Best Actor or Best Actress. Chances are you'll never see it again. So a monumental movie for horror. So that opened the doors, right? And then a flood of horror movies were nominated for Best Picture for... no. There was not another horror movie nominated until 1991. And that movie was Silence of the Lambs. And that is a debatable topic as well. Some people think that it is just a dark psychological thriller, while many have claimed it's definitely a horror movie. There's no question about it. You look at what's in it's a horror movie without question. Whichever side you fall on, if you do want to look at it as a horror movie, it was a massive horror movie, nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, and not only nominated, but taking home all 4 of those awards. Incredible. Now, after 91, the Academy finally caught on, right? This horror thing, could be smart and well done, and you can put a high budget on it and make it quality, right? So we're going to continue to look at horror movies and, oh no, they did not. They didn't. They, once again, completely just blew off horror movies, left them in the dust. So now, here we are, 2018, and for only the 3rd time in 90 years, a horror movie is nominated for Best Picture. And I want to look now at the driving force behind that horror movie. We already discussed Jordan Peele, but let's bring it up into more depth. 2 things about Jordan Peele and the Academy this year. He is only the 5th African American director to be nominated for Best Director. Only the 5th. Does that sound familiar from earlier in the episode? Oh yeah. They seem to have a stigma not against women as much as they do against African Americans. Oh, I hope I'm not looking into that too deeply, but chances are there were more than 5 deserving African American directors throughout the history of the Academy Awards. I'm saying that there's probably a good chance of that. And another feat that he's accomplished that's incredible. He becomes the first ever African American to be nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Original Screenplay for the same movie in the same Academy Award ceremony. What I want to say to him is, congratulations, Jordan Peele. Amazing what you've accomplished with this movie. I can't say enough about it. I thought the movie was terrific and deserving of every award you're being nominated for. And the good thing is, Get Out's not just looked at for the direction. The lead actor in that movie, and I hope I don't butcher his name, is Daniel Kaluuya. And what a wonderful, wonderful performance he gave in Get Out. He is well deserving of the nomination, and it's one of those where I wouldn't call it an upset, and I wouldn't even say I'd be surprised if he took home the golden statue. He would deserve it. He would absolutely deserve it. And so this year at the awards, the Academy Awards, maybe some progression. Hopefully not the progression I had talked about with horror movies, since we had to go from 1973 to 1991 to 2008 to get the 3 Best Picture nominees for horror movies. And speaking of Best Picture nominees, one thing I try to do every year, as soon as I find out what the nominees are, I do my best to go out and find all 9, all 10, however many are nominated, and I want to watch them all because I want to be informed. I want to see why these movies are nominated, and I want to be able to look at them from my point of view and say, okay, here are the ones that the Academy has chosen. Now, I haven't seen all 9. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten to Phantom Thread yet. But based on the other 8 films in the category, and I'll read them off for you now. The Best Picture nominees are Darkest Hour, The Post, Dunkirk, Call Me By Your Name, Lady Bird, the aforementioned Get Out, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, and The Shape of Water. The reason why I read them in that order is because that's the order that I placed them. After seeing 8 of the 9, without question, the movie I believe is the best picture of those 8 is The Shape of Water. Guillermo del Toro has done a wonderful job of mixing fantasy and reality. And I want to say this right now, whether she wins or not, I'm not making that prediction, but I am telling you that out of the movies I've seen, no woman gave a more incredible and warm and heart-wrenching performance than Sally Hawkins for Shape of Water. You look at the other women in that category, Frances McDormand, who has been nominated before and actually won an Academy Award for Fargo. She's nominated again this year for 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. You have Margot Robbie playing Tanya Harding, and she is pretty terrific in the role. You have Saoirse Ronan for Lady Bird. Probably butchered her name, and I am so sorry if I did, but she's terrific. She gives a wonderful performance, and I would say she's deserving of the nomination as well. And then this one, I go back and forth on. Meryl Streep is nominated for The Post. The Post is very well done, and it's enjoyable. Do I think Meryl Streep should have been nominated for the role? I really don't. At this point, I think she's nominated if she makes a movie. The Post is a good movie. It's not a great movie. It's a good movie. It's entertaining. It's enjoyable. I could say the same for Meryl Streep's performance. It's fairly entertaining. It's fairly enjoyable. Is it worthy of being nominated for Best Actress? It is not. But she's Meryl Streep. So she could drop her hat and someone would record it and it would be nominated at the Oscars. Yeah, so that's my thoughts on Meryl Streep this year. But my hot take, if you will, is that Sally Hawkins gives the best performance by an actress in a lead role for 2017 with The Shape of Water. So there is my look and my opinions and my take on the 2018 Academy Award nominations. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe the video. Comment down below if you agree with anything I've said today. I'm sure some of you probably have not fully agreed, and I look forward to reading the comments on such. So until we meet again, have a beautiful day and good journey.